Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm Taylor Gonzalez, and my guest today voices the Punisher in one of my favorite video games. I have Bill Millsap. Bill, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Thanks so much for having me on, Tay.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. Yeah, I've been playing this game way more than I'd like to admit, and it is just so addicting and so much fun. Today, actually, for research, I played I think like five or six matches as you,
Oh,
and it
nice.
was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I am. I've heard that a lot of people enjoy me because we can do a lot of distance damage and it's just brutal. It's
Yeah.
brutal. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I feel like I'm not good at the hand-to-hand combat characters that I need someone with range.
Mm-hmm.
And being the Punisher is perfect, especially if I can get in my turret and then have a healer behind me, then I'm good to
Mm-hmm.
go.
Or also if you hook up with Rocket,
Oh yeah.
those two match up pretty well and you can unleash an enormous amount of firepower.
Mhm. No, totally, totally agree. And I love switching between the like assault rifle and then the shotgun. The shotgun's just
Mm-hmm.
so satisfying. It reminds me of when I used to play Gears of War.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well, he looks like a Gears of War character. If Gears of War was Marvel, he's very beefy.
totally agree. But before we continue getting into Marvel Rivals, I did want to ask, are
Hmm.
you excited? We're just, I think, like 2 weeks away from the Punisher's return in Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus. Are you
Yes,
looking forward to that?
yes. I am looking forward to it. Now, I am a big fan of the original first season of Daredevil. I'm real fan of that first one. I feel like second season just sort of got a little muddled. Third season sort of made its way back. I really don't ever want to watch Defenders ever again. So I have my cherry picking of what I enjoy out of that particular Netflix universe. But Daredevil is my favorite, followed very closely by the first season of Jessica Jones.
Oh my God. I love Jessica Jones. And I don't know if you saw, but this morning, I think it was Deadline put out a article saying that the Disney execs are looking into bringing back the Defenders and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And I hope so because I love all the casting.
I like what they did with Luke, and I
Mhm.
like what they did with Jessica. I have my feelings about some of the other characters that have traipsed through that series, but I'm gonna keep those to myself. I'm gonna be
Yes.
kind.
Hmm.
So,
But yeah, I would love to see them all come back. I'm hoping a couple of them pop up in Daredevil Born Again.
yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to. Well, I mean, I don't think there's better casting than Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, really, and the actor that we have playing Matt Murdock, I can't think of anybody else in that role now.
Mm.
I really can't see anybody else playing that role as well as he does. It's really brilliant, quite honestly. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And speaking of people that you can't see other people playing the character, I can't see anyone else doing the Punisher because when I hear those alt lines and I hear you
Mm.
do all your call outs, it's so fun. Only when it's on my team. When it's on the other team, I'm like, I'm okay. I don't need to have that head in my way.
Yeah, I have
But
I
when
have
it's
heard that when people hear me call out judge, jury, executioner, they get a little scared as to where is that located on the map.
yeah, exactly. But it's such a fun character and such a fun game. How did you find yourself involved with this project?
I did it just like everybody else did. These auditions come across our desk and we go ahead and get an opportunity to audition for it. But I myself am a huge Punisher fan. I've known about Frank Castle. My first issue of Punisher was the issue number one of the actual series. Punisher came out as a four-part mini series, a four-issue mini series when he first came out, and it was snatched up so quick that they decided to do a full series, an ongoing series about the Punisher. And that was where I was able to get my first issue, was I literally have the fabulous first issue of the Punisher series. So I've known Frank Castle and his backstory and watching him for many, many years. So it just sort of was like easy to ingrain the subtext of what's going on when he's interacting with these people. So I really hoped and I crossed my fingers that I would get this one. There are other very iconic people in the Marvel universe, but playing for me the Punisher is one of my tops. It really is. If I was going to say who could you play in the Marvel universe, the Punisher is definitely one of the tops.
Did you audition for anybody else, or did you only audition
I
for the
auditioned
Punisher?
for quite a few people. I auditioned for quite a few people, but Punisher was the only one I ended up getting locked in. So I believe I auditioned for Cap.
Mm.
I auditioned for Mr. Fantastic. Um, and this actually was through, there were two games. There's another Marvel game that also came out, and they recorded me as the Punisher for that game too, and then chose not to put the Punisher in that game.
Oh wow.
But this one is the one that they said, yeah, we need to have that. And I can say that I was the first person that they actually recorded when they sat down to record this. I was the first
Oh,
person, the test bunny. So it was interesting because the developers were like, shouldn't we have more highs and lows emotionally? And the booth director at Bright Skull was like, you do realize this is the Punisher, right?
oh
You're going to
my
get
gosh.
those with Spider Man.
Hmm.
You're going to get those with Rocket. You're going to get those with Doctor Strange. But the Punisher's pretty even keel.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Are you playing the game in your free time?
I don't have a lot of free time right now because unfortunately, well, fortunately, I am directing a very big video game right now, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. I can't talk about it right now. It is an open world game, so there is in this last batch alone between October and January 30th, I recorded over 1,200 NPCs. So yeah, it's gonna be a big one, and I can say that there's been a few trailers released, some during the Game Awards, but I can't say which one it is yet. And but when we get closer, maybe you and I can chat about it once I can actually say what that game is. So I spend a lot of time here in this lovely atmosphere. And then after I get done directing, I spend a lot of time in this atmosphere doing all the auditions that I get. So sometimes my days can be, 10 to 12 hours. And so when I have those type of long days, the last thing I really want to do is go, hey, more video game stuff right now. I just want to turn off my brain. I want to read. I want to listen to music. I may want to turn on an episode of something, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. What are some things that you're currently listening to or reading to relax?
You know what? I have been getting deeper into certain levels of electronic dance music. Rufus Del Sol has been something that I've been getting deeper into, and Christian Loeffler. I actually got a chance to go to Burning Man this past year, and while I was out in the middle of nowhere, this music called to me while I was out there in Deep Playa, and my friends and I raced over to it, and it just so happened to be Christian Loeffler playing live, and he had flown in from like Korea or somewhere because he was doing a national tour just to do this one night at Burning Man. And so I was like, I gotta learn more about this guy. As for what I'm watching right now, I can actually tell you this too. I do a lot of anime, so I also watch a lot of anime to keep up on things. And I'm in Sakamoto Days right now. So if you have been watching Sakamoto Days, I just did a number of characters in episodes 5 and 6, which was super fun. I've been keeping up with solo leveling lately. That's been fun. And in terms of something raw that I just watched, was I watched American Primeval, which was probably one of the most violent westerns I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh. Well, if there's someone who is watching this interview right now and they themselves are curious about how to get into voice acting, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Okay, so it depends on where you are in terms of where you are in the United States.
Mm.
But there are a lot of really good online courses. My first place that I always suggest is a place that actually got me my start as a director in voiceover. And it is a place called The Voicecaster. And The Voicecaster has online classes as well as in person classes. And they have beginning, intermediate, and advanced classes. And what's great about that is that you're going to be learning about commercials. You're going to be learning about animation. You're going to be learning about video games. You're going to be learning about all of these different things through all these different classes. But the great benefit to this is the Voicecaster is an actual casting agency. And part of what they believe their education is that they will also start sending you auditions so that you can actually start auditioning for things. So you have the ability to book something that will pay for all the classes that you've already taken. So it's the only place that I know of that can actually go sort of do that. Another good place to do that is a place called Voice Tracks West. They are very good. And I also worked for another casting director by the name of Terry Burland. She also does online classes as well. She's mostly commercial. She is in charge of doing all the Red Bull commercials that you've ever seen.
Oh,
And so these are all very, very good people. The voice caster, Terry Burland Casting, and Voice Tracks West are all brilliant, brilliant places to do online classes. Some of them are in person if you're in Los Angeles. If you're not in Los Angeles, then you can look online and see what kind of online classes they have. Also, the other good thing about the voice caster is they are a legitimate place to get your voiceover demo done. Voiceover demos are incredibly important to aspiring voice actors because that is what's going to get you your agent. It is your calling card. And so the voice caster is very good at number one, educating you. And then when you and they believe that you are right for the picking and can go in there and do a demo for commercials or a demo for video games, they will help you put together all of the elements. They will help you produce it. And then you'll be able to send it off to different agencies. So I really like that. Thevoicecaster.com. Just look it up online. It'll say it's been around forever because one of the cool things about the Voicecaster is it has been. It's been around for something like 50 years now.
no, I think that's great advice, and those are some great resources for people to go and check out. Well, getting back to The Punisher and Marvel Rivals.
Mhm.
So you audition for the role, you find out you get it, and what do you do to celebrate?
What did I do to celebrate? I did a dance in the kitchen. I sang a song to my dog.
Oh,
And then I can't talk about it with anybody because
yeah.
we're under non-disclosure agreements. So, you have yourself a craft cocktail, you give yourself a little pat on the back, and then you go and you start reading old comics because you want to get in the head of Frank Castle a little bit more. And you don't want to base your performance on any of the cinema stuff that's already been done because that's lifting somebody else's performance. You want to create something new and interesting, so you go back to the source material.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Because I was curious, like what kind of research you did, and that makes a lot of sense to me. That if you go and you watch like the series or you go and watch some of the
Mhm.
animated stuff, it might influence, I guess, the way that you're going to portray him in the game. So I think going to the comic books and reading it and just getting to know the character, that's a really great way to study him.
Well, you have to realize that there have been four Punishers and they've all been different. So you've had Dolph Lundgren, you've had Thomas Jane,
Mhm.
you've had gosh, what is his name from Rome? I forgot what his name is. Who did the last Punisher feature film? He just
Oh,
he's also in Star Wars. He just passed away, unfortunately.
yeah,
Ray, I forgot right off the top of my
yeah,
head. But
I
anyway,
know exactly who you're talking about.
and then you have our television version of the Punisher, and all of them are different flavors. All of them are focusing on different aspects of uh, Frank Castle. I chose to focus in a different manner and on different things. A lot of people like to focus on his backstory. A lot of people like to show the humanity through the punishment and all that other stuff. And I just wanted to focus on the idea that my version of the Punisher is one that has no fear, and everything that he is doing right now is considered a bonus until he meets his ultimate end. Because if he meets his ultimate end, he gets the chance to see his family. So there's a somewhat snarky glibness to him and a devil may care attitude. And it's the reason why he's not afraid of anyone on the field. No one. There's no hiding for the Punisher. It's go, 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 go. All times.
Mhm. So if someone was playing the game and they were like, "Oh, I love the character of the Punisher. I want to learn more about him, more about his backstory," is there a specific comic issue that you would want to point them to for them to go check out?
You know, I mean, if you, everything is available online, if you can go to the original four-issue miniseries, it gives his backstory, it gives where he starts, and it gives a brilliant arc that everybody absorbed. Then it continues that story in issue one, so that now you have his backstory. Now it's just, him going up against various different villains when you get into issue one. If you can go back to the original four-issue miniseries, do that first because that's the core. That's the origin. And once you get that, everything else gets to be played off of that. Everything else gets to be, added to that, but that's the core, and then it expands outwards.
Another thing that I love about the game is depending on how you match up your team, you get different interactions between the characters. So, you
Hmm.
might get Spider-Man interacting with Tony Stark or Loki interacting with Scarlet Witch.
Hmm.
Do you have a favorite line of dialogue that comes to mind that you recorded that was I guess, kind of like an Easter egg interaction, like you wouldn't get it unless you had that specific combination of characters on your team?
Um, it's interesting. I talked about this one on another podcast. I really like the interaction between the Punisher and Penny.
Oh yeah.
And the reason is because Penny lost her father and her father made the mech suit. He lost his entire family and it pushed him into the same sort of thing. She's light and joy, he's the darkness. And so he relates to her in ways that make him slightly uncomfortable because she's old enough to be his daughter. So that interaction's very interesting. But there is a line where if you're in the mid match and somebody gets taken out and he's like, Spider-Man's down. That one hurt. That kind of thing. So that to me is interesting because those interactions show the Punisher's humanity more than his violence does. You know, even when he's interacting with Loki and he's threatening him and Loki's just being glib with him, you can tell there's this savage distaste for everything supernatural about Loki, you know. So I just everybody has their own little moments, and some of them are just sort of like snarky and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the ones that actually get into a personal connection or a personal distaste.
Mhm. The one that you just mentioned with him and Penny, I just heard that one for the first time earlier this week, and so
Hmm.
it's fun because I'll be playing the game, as many hours as I've already put into it, but then I'll hear different character interactions because I have a different teammate that I haven't had with the character that I'm playing before. So it's just kind of fun to get to hear all the different interactions, and I feel like
Hmm.
at least once a day I'm hearing one that I haven't heard yet, and it just, I don't know, adds to the fun of the game.
And we keep adding. I will let you know that this is not a one record and done. I just did new content for the Punisher within the last 3 months because they're bringing in new characters.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something that I am very excited about. It's keeping the game very fresh and alive. They've already added a new map, and on February 21st, so in a couple days, there's going to be the new one, the Central Park one with Dracula's Castle, and it's going to have Squirrel Girl's little hideout. I just think it's so cool that they're adding characters and just keeping it fresh because games like that and like Fortnite, where it's like they constantly have new content, new characters, it just helps keep the game,
Well,
healthy.
it's that it keeps you engaged and it keeps you interested. There's going to be times where sooner or later we're going to have new maneuvers. We're going to have new weapons. We're going to have new skins. We're always going to have new skins. And all of these things just add to the element, especially if you get these interesting maps where they're starting to play with gravity, where they're starting to play with, perspectives and, or the danger of a map, the falling, the anything of those things. It just keeps it way more interesting.
Yeah, no, so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more dialogue from the Punisher. Um, are there any characters that aren't in the game yet? I know we talked a little bit about Daredevil, but are there any characters that come to mind that you're like, oh, I would love to see the Punisher interact with this character?
I think that I would like to see the Punisher interact with War Machine
Oh, that'd be a good one.
because they're both doing the exact same job. It's just a different attitude.
Hmm.
I'd really like to see he and Rhodey team up and see what they can do.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a good one. Another one I was thinking is Deadpool, just to have like a
Yeah, well,
complete.
Deadpool. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Punisher would shoot Deadpool just because he's annoying. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. And the problem with Deadpool is that he'll never map out. That's the problem. He can't
Yeah.
be hurt. He can't be killed. So he'd just be mapping in all the time. It's like you're shooting him, and he's like, oh, whatever.
But I just think their personalities, like the clash of the different personalities, would be so fun to hear and
Hmm.
to play. But I'm telling you right now, I know when they add Deadpool to the game, he's going to be in every single match because
Oh yeah,
he's so popular and everyone's gonna want to play as him.
yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I like the idea of War Machine. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I think would be good that's not in the game right now. that is more obscure in the Marvel universe. It's nothing's coming right to in terms of an interaction with the Punisher. I'm Nothing's coming to mind right now.
Yeah, I was
So
thinking also maybe some of the Spider-Man villains like Mysterio or Vulture or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
the Green Goblin would be interesting
Oh, yeah,
because
that'd
then
be
he
really
would be
fun.
literally on his electronic bat, and so he would always have air superiority, and then you'd have to get at him. That'd be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah. Okay. No, I really like that one.
Yeah, because then he'd be pumpkin bombing from above, and that would be, yeah, I like the Green Goblin idea. I think that would
Mhm.
be a good matchup.
Well, Bill, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to be here. I know you've been super
Absolutely.
busy directing your game, which we'll talk about in the future. But in the meantime, where would be a good place if people want to come and follow you and keep up with all your upcoming projects?
Instagram. Instagram is where I post most everything. And it, usually has links or it has video or those types of things. Instagram, it's audio, the letter U, the number four, IA. So audio euphoria. So that's my Instagram handle. It's also, if you just pull up my name, Bill Millsap, you'll be able to find it. And then if anybody needs to contact me for any reason, they can go to billmillsap.com.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put links to your Instagram and your website in the description of this video so everyone can come and follow you. But Bill, thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate it. Can't wait to talk about the game you're working on next.
Absolutely. Judge, jury, executioner!
Oh my God, that's crazy to hear in the headphones like that. That sounds so cool. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.